Dobra večer, vi gledate Art. Danas je Dan planeta Zemlje. Onaj dan u godini kada se podsjećamo na važnost očuvanja našeg planeta i podizanja svijesti ljudi prema očuvanju okoliša. Kako i dalje pratimo Zagreb Docs, festival dokumentarnog filma, prava je prilika da predstavimo goste iz Nizozemske. Filmski par koji godinama snima dokumentarce na temu prirode i njezinih zapostavljenih prava. To su Corine van Egeraat i Peter Lom, koji na Zagreb Docsu održavaju masterclass, a njihov dokumentarac Coriolisov učinak prikazuje se u sklopu programa Green Docs. Filmska je to meditacija smještena na Zelenortske otoke, gdje porast temperature mora i razorne oluje djeluju na sva živa bića. No prije nego u studiju upoznamo goste, Nataša Vuka-Stanojkovski donosi nam uvodni prilog.
U tišini plavetnila gdje svjetlost lomi površinu mora, ova dostojanstvena i vječna kornjača klizi u svom savršenom usporenom ritmu. Ali ona je jedna od onih sretnijih koju, barem za sada, iz njezina doma nisu izbacile ekološke katastrofe ili klimatske promjene. A o tim složenim fenomenima i njihovim posljedicama redatelj Peter Lom i producentica Corine van Egeraat progovaraju u svojem najnovijem dokumentarcu Coriolisov učinak.
Ove godine gledat ćemo premjerno njihov najnoviji film Coriolisov učinak u sklopu sekcije Green Docs koja je posvećena ekološki osviještenim dokumentarcima. Riječ je o filmskoj meditaciji o zelenorskim otocima i životu u oku oluje. Riječ je o rodnom mjestu snažnih uragana gdje ljudi i životinje otkrivaju univerzalnu volju za preživljavanje. Pod utjecajem Coriolisova učinka i porasta temperatura mora ove oluje postaju sve razornije i snažnije, te stoga zelenortski otoci postaju i doslovan i metaforički epicentar života na našoj planeti koji sve više izmiče kontroli.
Peter Lom odavno je karijeru fakultetskog profesora zamijenio kamerom i režijom, slijedeći svoje srce i snove, a neke od njegovih dokumentaraca već smo imali priliku upoznati upravo na Zagreb Docsu. Bio je u Egiptu nakon revolucije na trgu Tahrir. Obilazio je kirgistanske planine, u Aziji je pronalazio političke zatvorenike i pjesnike, bilježio svakodnevicu djece iz jedne kineske provincije, brisao granice između rasa, nacija i religija. Na toj mu se plovidbi kasnije pridružuje životna partnernica i kreativna producentica Corine van Egeraat.
Peter Lom i Corine van Egeraat već 20 godina su zapravo posvetili urgentnim pričama o ljudskim pravima da bi se u posljednjih 7 godina fokusirali na zapostavljena prava prirode, ukazujući na to da sva stvorenja zaslužuju poštovanje i dostojanstvo, ali i pažnju pripovjedača. I oni zapravo primjenjuju jedan širok spektar neantropocentričnih pripovjedateljskih i snimateljskih tehnika kako bi ispričali priče u kojima ljudska bića nisu u središtu.
Feel it all leaving me. Can you?
Yeah, every time.
I can feel all the unhealthiness is all leaving me.
Sada je ipak prevladao taj jedan neantropocentrični pristup u njegovom filmskom radu koji se oslanja dakle na zanimljive pristupe kao što su vizualna poezija, asocijativno pripovijedanje namjesto standardnog linearnog. Zatim taj jedan trend slow cinema i slow gaze, taj jedan spori fokusirani pogled. I u ovom filmu najnovijem je to zapravo itekako evidentno i tu je nekako naglasak Pokušava se zapravo izazvati u gledatelju jedno strahopoštovanje i osjećaj sićušnosti pred golemim silama prirode, a ne samo dakle, da bi se iznosilo suhoparne znanstvene dokaze o klimatskim promjenama, nego više ovako jedan poetični pristup sa vrlo izraženom impresivnom fotografijom koja bilježi i lokalne priče o proživljavanju klimatskih aktivista, ali dakle i sva živa bića na otoku.
Evo nas u studiju, sa mnom su gosti. Poželjet ću im dobrodošlicu. Good evening, Mrs. Van Everat. And good evening to you, Peter Lom.
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you. Nice to have you here tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Likewise, Yvonne.
First of all, Peter, I would like to ask you if you could elaborate a little bit more about what is it non-anthropocentrical cinematography and what is in focus?
Yeah, it's a pretentious big fat word, isn't it? All it really means is that it just means that humans shouldn't be at the center of attention. So we are trying this kind of storytelling because we think that that's basically what the main problem is for all of humanity, that we've forgotten about that we're embedded in a bigger global system and that we've lost our idea of respect and responsibility for the world around us. So with storytelling, it just means, hey, tell a story where humans aren't the focus of attention. A human being is as important as a turtle or a little centipede. That's all, yeah.
What kind of language do you use then to tell the story? Is it more slow story? It's poetic language?
What we try is to have the camera be everywhere so that the viewer can be everywhere. So it's a little bit like being in a dream because you can be underwater, you can be in the air, just following everything that lives. And the creatures that live are the lead of the story. So we follow what they do. And that is a little bit the first steps in how we do that work.
How was it for you to produce this Coriolis effect, which is basically, a lot of it is under the water?
Yeah, so we needed a very good underwater cameraman, which we found in Runar Jarlevik. He's a Norwegian cameraman. And all the other camera work is done by Peter. For me, it was super nice to produce there because I grew up in Brazil. So I speak Portuguese, and in the Cape Verdean Islands, that's also a language. I mean, people speak Creole, but Portuguese is a main language too, or that is their first communal language. And so I was having to use that language all the time, so that was nice. And the people there are just really amazing. So it was a big honor to be able to work there. Yeah.
But a long project. It was a 7-year project, also interrupted by COVID. So, but the time is also of the essence in making a film like this because it gives us a chance. Really, I have such respect now for people who film nature. It takes a long time. So, yeah.
How did you get to this idea to film the nature?
It started out
Coriolis effect. This film in particular.
Kind of a long journey. To make it short, it started out as a film about our idea of home, how our home is fragile and under pressure, of course. And then it evolved more into a meditation with experimenting in this kind of way. It's like, how do you tell a story where you tell different stories, where all the stories are of equal importance? And how do you create this feeling of awe and respect that you're trying to evoke in the audience? So, yeah.
But, I mean, as a viewer, I did not feel so much pressured by this catastrophe, which Coriolis effect tells the story about.
Yeah.
But more like, how do people and creatures live afterwards?
Yeah, I think we were struggling a long time with what is the main, like we always like to find a verb so that you have an action that the film is following. And in the beginning we were like, oh, it's about survival. But then we thought, no, because nature is not trying to survive. Nature is living. So in the end, we said the main verb for our film is to live. And the will to live, or everything wants to live a lot. We do, but also everything else that lives. And that was the main motor for us in the story. And I think that's why it doesn't feel like a big catastrophe. We just want to tell stories that have hope. And,
but it depends. I mean, someone at the cinema yesterday said, I felt really sad after your film. And then I think, well, good for you. Thank you for feeling that. But certainly we don't want you to be in despair. That's not what we do. So I still think it's a hopeful film, right? Yeah. The poet at the end says, you know, we who love you, right? So, and that's kind of the impetus in the film. And that's why you see people trying to help. Even though they're like Sisyphus, you know, they're trying to clean up the garbage that's always there, but they're still trying, so. Yeah. Yeah.
What about this, hurricane place, Cabo Verde? Not a lot of people know that this is actually where the most ferocious and hurricanes are born.
Yeah. That was kind of the inspiration for the film. We went to Cape Verde by accident, really just on a holiday to take a break. And we wake up in the morning and the first place we walk to is this weather station. Like, what is this? Why is this here? And then you learn, oh, they're studying hurricanes. They begin there. And as a filmmaker, that's, oh, wow, what a beautiful metaphor for a story. Yeah. Yeah.
But you have a composer, I think his name is Vasco Martinez in the film, who says a very nice word, who says, whether we realize it or not, we are all on a pilgrimage in this life. And this is what your beautiful poetic meditation shows.
Yeah.
I really love the film, I have to say. It's really something I think you should, people should watch. Tell me more, Peter, about how do you make this egoless film? This is also something...
Yeah, that's one of our dreams as well, really, in cinema. And it kind of started when we made the previous film, which was a collective film called Myanmar Diaries. It played also at Zagreb Docs 4 years ago. And there were no credits in the film because it's made with dissident filmmakers. So for their safety, there was no credits, no faces in the film. And so the only credit is a film by this collective. And we thought, wow, that was really nice. It's like kind of like medieval paintings. Nobody signed them, right? You're in service of something else. And that's kind of our goal with this kind of storytelling too, is that the human being, or basically more crudely, our real problem is the ego, that we're only centered on ourselves. And if we would open to everything, hopefully we would behave to each other differently and to the planet differently. That's kind of our hope. Yeah.
Could we say that you're interested, in the stories about injustice, be it for the humans or for the nature?
it's always about injustice. It's always about injustice. I think that's kind of how you were born. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I was a Czechoslovak refugee. So I was born in '68, and then we fled to Canada after the Soviet invasion. So I grew up with that in my DNA, really. But before, there were stories always about what's wrong with the world and how it's unfair and how we can do something about that. And now our focus is expanded to how we're being unfair to everything around us, right? But we're always trying to make stories that will open your heart and make the world a little bit bigger, or your own world a little bigger. Yeah, not to yell at you. So,
we like to make stories that are all inspiring in a way. And if it succeeds, our big goal with filmmaking is to we see filmmaking as an act of friendship with everybody we work with all the protagonists. And maybe that's also a little bit about this egoless, is that it's very important that everybody kind of feels like they're part of it, and that,
Part of this is this also famous film about I'm the River, the river is me. Could you tell me more about this kaupapa principle of Maori?
Oh, sure, yeah, it's a wonderful word. We learned it from our Maori friends early on when we were struggling with how to make the film and stuff, and sometimes we would get lost, and we would call our main protagonist and friend Ned and say, Ned, I don't know what to do, and then they would patiently explain what this concept and word means. So the word means basically is like, what's your compass? And the Maori take that very seriously. They say, in every action, you're always supposed to refer back to what is your deeper purpose? Why are you doing this? So what's your ethical and spiritual reason for everything you do in life? And if you always return to that, you won't get lost. And in a way, it also, other than being focused, it gives you real power and strength in what you're doing. So we think it's fantastic, yeah.
Tell me more about this river.
Yeah.
This river is illegal.
The Wanganui River is for the Maori, particularly the Wanganui Maori, something very sacred, because they believe it's one of their oldest ancestors. And so like an ancestor, they still believe that it's part of you, because Ned would say, well, water, we're 65% water, so it's always part of you. So that's how they believe it. It's a sacred ancestor and it's part of them. And because of that, they want it to be respected. And so how to get that respect, they fought for legal recognition so it has rights, just like a human being or a corporation. And it's the first one in the world,
That's very interesting. How did you connect with this story in the first place? As a producer?
We read about it in the newspaper in the Netherlands. And as I said, I grew up in Brazil, so I grew up on the Amazon River because my parents are working there. And when I read about this concept of a river having personhood rights, which is more than a national park. I mean, it's really that a river can stand for itself in court. And it kind of clicked. I was like, Peter, listen, this is what I'm reading here. We have to go to New Zealand to meet this river. And that was really how it happened. And it was very funny because it's, of course, something really silly to say if it's on the other side of the world. But somehow it manifested and we were there pretty soon after to make a short film.
Yeah, and strangely enough, usually people say with indigenous stories it's very difficult to get access because naturally because of colonialism, the people are very distrustful. It takes a long, long time to gain their trust and confidence. And this was like the easiest film we've ever made for, the doors just opened and then you're like, this is kind of funny. Why is this happening? So.
And while watching this film, you feel like we have a lot to learn from indigenous people.
Of course, yeah. It's been a really life-changing film for us, this one for sure, in orienting us, this is how we can try to do something about our climate crisis in a positive, hopeful, empowering way.
Yeah, we really believe that all our answers are there.
Yeah.
It's really something that is unusually, hopeful.
Yeah.
You have a lot of interest in Asia, in Burma. You have been shooting 2 times there, 2 documentaries. Could you tell me a little bit more about Burma Storybook?
Yes, so we went there. In principle, we were invited for a festival to show a film, and we came there and we saw...
Back in 2012. So,
that was in 2012, and the country was transferring into a full democracy, which is very hopeful at the time, but that has unfortunately totally turned around again, because now it's a dictatorship again. But at the time, we offered to come back there because we were so impressed by all the young people who were wanting to be filmmakers or wanted to tell their own story. So we offered to come and teach. So we started to teach filmmaking, and in particular human rights filmmaking, which was then possible. And then when we were staying there to do that, we came up with the film idea for Burma Storybook, which is about dissident poets. And so poetry there is the biggest art form in the country. It still is, which is quite exceptional. Everybody almost is a poet that you speak to, a hobby one or a professional one. And so we said, let's tell stories about the transition to democracy through poetry. And
the film's a poem.
And the film is a larger poem, That's Burma Storybook. But unfortunately, after we made that film, we left the country thinking, wow, there's such a bright future, especially for all the young people we had met. But then, 5 years ago, the coup happened, and the whole situation was turned back into a very cruel dictatorship.
You have done also an interesting film in Egypt.
Yeah, that was actually the inspiration that took us to Myanmar.
Yeah.
We made a film about the rebel. I think it played here at Zagreb Docs, 2012. And so then they invited that film to Myanmar, and that was kind of all the connection. Now things are all connected, so yeah.
You had a masterclass today here in Zagreb. You teach about your techniques, and you actually have a lot of successful films. Maybe tell us about the most big success of yours.
I think that they're all like your children, so you love them all equally. But our biggest success internationally, I guess, has been Myanmar Diaries, because that won the big prize in Berlin. There's a prize for documentaries, one of the biggest prizes around. So that was a big success. Yeah, it got a lot of attention because it was so urgent, because of the military coup a year after, and also because of the forum, because it's a collective film made with 10 young directors, and we kind of shaped that into a whole. And now we're actually just finished shooting a sequel, so hopefully that'll be here next year.
Hopefully. But still, isn't it difficult to come to Myanmar, for instance?
Yeah,
such a different country.
That film was actually made, both of them, the first one was only made long distance. Because after the coup, the filmmakers reached out to us, because we knew them for a long time, as many were former students. They said, look, we want to make a film about what's happening. We said, sure. And they would just send out the material, and we would shape it long distance. So the second one now we're working in person, because most are in exile. So.
But we don't go to Myanmar.
No.
Okay.
And it's
not
mostly,
anymore.
it's probably not a good idea to go there for us, but mostly because we would endanger the people around us.
Yeah.
So it's really a country that is arresting lots of artists, journalists, filmmakers. So
and has
many are in
little
jail.
attention internationally. So
Yeah, that's true.
right, it's really ignored. So it doesn't have oil. So.
Which is one of the reasons we can't let go.
Yeah.
So we really, it really stole our hearts, and we feel that if we can do things and tell stories about Myanmar, it's very important.
You have done an interesting story in Philadelphia too.
Yeah, we did. That was a lovely coincidence, because I have a friend who lives there. So we made this film, Angels on Diamond Street, because this friend who lives there, he's a political scientist, and he told me, oh, there's this sanctuary movement in Philadelphia where an illegal immigrant can hide inside a church and the ICE won't go inside, the police, immigration police won't go inside and grab them and throw them out. So we made a film about a Mexican mom with 4 kids who was hiding in an African-American church for almost 2 years. So it was a fascinating story, both about generosity, but also about different cultures. So in Hispanic culture and Black culture, and how they don't know so much about each other traditionally. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
You mentioned a little bit your background as a born in Czechoslovakia, but later on you came to Canada, and then you studied actually in America in Harvard.
Yeah.
You have a Harvard PhD in political philosophy,
Yeah,
right?
big brain.
Big brain, yeah. So the question, the logical question is, how does the big brain said one day, okay, I will not teach anymore?
Oh, well, I guess it's a left brain, right brain thing. I always get confused which one's the creative side, right? But academia was only about thinking, and that didn't really satisfy my deeper urges in my soul, really, which was about, I want to do something creative, something more important than just teaching, which I miss. But the research part was kind of dry and made me depressed because it's just, your career. So I found filmmaking really by accident, so. Yeah.
And the first film was about Kyrgyzstan's...
Yeah, it was called Bride, very creative
Bride.
title, Bride Kidnapping in Kyrgyzstan, and that's what it was about, so.
Nothing less than that.
It played here at Zagreb Docs, 2005. It was the first time, yeah. Yeah, so I came across that story, and then I didn't have any film experience. I thought I'd practiced photography for 2 years, think I'd be a journalist. And then I didn't like journalism. When I met journalists, I said, no, that's not for me. And then I just went and made a film. So I like to say my film school was a coffee with a cameraman.
But you never regretted, didn't you?
No, not at all. I'm very happy. Yeah, very happy. Yeah.
Corina, you have a theater as a background. What
Yes.
were you doing in theater? Were you acting?
Acting, yes. Yeah, theater, also some TV and film. And I loved acting. And I think that what's really in my blood is this desire to do storytelling. But I was sometimes a little bit stubborn. And sometimes I thought, I know how to tell a story, or I would like to tell the story. So I made the switch to directing. And I was a director until we got together. We started working together. And then we said we have to divide the tasks. So we still write together. We make the stories. Well, we actually do a lot together. But in the practical divide, we said Peter's the director and I'm the producer. And I love arranging stuff. So I'm like the organizer.
Sorry, are you surprised that people like, for instance, Coriolis effect story, which is so long and poetic? In this time where people are just clicking and doing the reels and short stories are the best?
Yes, that is a way, in a way, that was our big question, because we basically just wanted to work on this language, this non-anthropocentric language, where how do you do that? And we thought, we need time. And we also were stubborn enough to say, we're just going to go for a longer film than normal, so it's 110 minutes. And we wanted to make an immersive experience where you sit back and kind of breathe and take the time to watch what we have to say with images. It's not so much about human language.
Anti-TikTok.
Yeah.
Totally
but
anti-TikTok.
Yeah, but it's. I guess that it for us was really, we were really putting our foot down in the sense that we wanted to make an experience. And I think it's been important, and now probably the next film we do will go back to maybe not such long, lengthy storytelling, but it was important for us to take that step artistically. And it's of course delightful that there's always people in the audience who are very emotional after seeing the film. And that for us is the rewarding thing, right? So we think we need to reconnect more and relate and make relationships.
To the nature.
To the nature and to each
time.
other. And that's kind of, I think, the feeling that the film evokes. And
What is your next project? What are you working on?
Yeah, well, we're continuing in this path of rights of nature. Now we're making a film in Spain about the Mar Menor, which is the first ecosystem in Europe that has personhood rights by Spanish law. So we're making a film about that because the lagoon can now stand up in court and sue its polluters. So we've been following that process for 2 years, and the court cases are just going to begin this spring. And we're making a sequel to Myanmar Diaries. We just finished shooting, so lots of stuff. Yeah.
Do you have the feeling that you're pushing the boundaries with your documentaries?
we hope so.
We better be.
That's what you need to do. No, but there is also a personal need because you're on a path and we like to develop. nothing should ever be the same. You should always take the road less traveled. And as long as we have the possibility to do this, we would hope to push the boundaries. And in a way, I mean, there's so much horrible going on in the world, and we need to relate to so much negativity that we see filmmaking as something to counter that, at least for ourselves, for our own sanity, but also to just keep exploring and make it a playground of storytelling, and then offer something beautiful and inspiring. Yeah.
This is exactly how I feel it. And as a couple and as a filming producer couple, it works for you perfectly, it seems.
I don't know about perfectly, but it works very well.
We had time to practice. It's becoming better.
Yeah.
Hope it's going to stay like this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Each
hope
film
so
together
too.
is easier. We know each other much better, and so yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
very
been 20
different
years
people,
now,
so
right?
yeah.
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 Thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
Spending
you.
your
Thank
time.
you, Ona. Yeah.
Super nice,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hvala i vama, poštovani gledatelji. Bilo je to sve za večeras. Srdačan pozdrav.
Thank you.